because this is really targeted around dealing with limiting beliefs and emotional blocks, that the things that really get in the way for many of us, and it's a continual journey. It's not something that you do once and that's it, right? Have you got a sort of a nice how-to or something you can share now that the listener can take away and use immediately to start to undo some of these limiting beliefs and some of these emotional blocks that are getting in the way?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, now, as I say, when I'm working with people with fundamental emotional blocks like unresolved anger or sadness or fear or hurt or guilt in the past, or major limiting decisions like I'm not good enough, or I'll never make the kind of money I want, or I'll never get a job, I'll never be able to have the kind of house I want, relationship that I want. Then these days I would tend to use interventions like timeline therapy.
Yep.
But that requires you to be, have access to someone one-on-one for maybe 5, 6, maybe more hours, or if we're doing it in a group setting, then 3 days. And I think that the important thing really, and the thing that I use all the time, is what do you do if you come across a limiting belief when you're in the middle of something?
Yeah.
As you say, this is a continual thing. It's not a matter of like going and getting fixed, and then your life is going to be absolute nirvana for forever on. It's not like that. It's like, okay, now you've got some new strategies, you've got some new ways of being, and life's life and shit happens. That's just one of those things.
That's very northern.
It is, isn't it? And maybe that's the great north-south divide. Maybe in the north shit happens, maybe in the south it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah.
Maybe I imported it to the south. I don't know. But so what happens in the moment? I might be doing a presentation or a training, and I might have a limiting belief come up. That's not the time to go and do some timeline therapy on yourself. Or when you're sitting in the car waiting to go to your big important business meeting or whatever. So what I've come up with is some what I call belief buster questions that you can ask yourself.
Yep.
That can have the potential of having that limiting belief disappear.
Yep.
But at the very least will start to sow the seeds of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
As in, imagine if very, very quickly you could start to doubt whether this major limiting belief you had was true or not.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Because I have a little strap line which I say, doubt your doubt, not your dream.
Exactly.
Yeah. So perfect.
So I mean, if you want to, we could do a little demonstration live if you like, so that people can hear the questions but also see how they work.
Sure. Yeah.
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 So I mean, even after you've been doing NLP since the early '90s, do you have any limiting beliefs, Colin?
Yes, of course I do. I've plenty. I have a list of them.
Okay.
I'm seeing each one of these meet the experts as personal therapy. Actually,
absolutely. Get it for free whilst you can.
Yeah.
Whilst adding value. So, I mean, the way these questions work, and I got this analogy from I don't think it was Unlimited Power, but I think it was Unleash the Power Within, Unleash the Giant Within.
Yeah.
Which was the Tony Robbins analogy of a belief, but in like a tabletop.
Yeah.
And it has legs, and each of these legs is a reference experience, an experience that you had, and you decided at that moment in time what that reference experience meant.
Yeah.
But I think a great example that Robbins uses in that book is he goes to interview a guy who's on death row because he's been found guilty of murder. And Robin sits with him and goes, "Okay, you're on death row. Ultimately, you are going to be killed." He said, "So what happened? What was your life's experience that wound you up here?" And the guy goes, "Well, what do you think? My father was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict. He used to beat my mum, and he used to beat my brothers and sisters all the time. What do you expect? Of course, I'm going to turn out to be an alcoholic, drug addict myself, and eventually wind up murdering somebody and being found guilty and being in prison on death row." And you read it, you go like, "Oh, yeah, if that happened to me, I could find myself in the same place." Then he goes and does another interview with another guy, and this guy's the epitome of the American dream. A very successful businessman, wealthy, family, massive house, cars on the drive, the whole thing. And he says, so, you've done very, very well in your life. And, what were the life experiences that you had that wound you up here? And the guy goes, well, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, my dad was an alcoholic, a drug addict. He used to beat my mum all the time. He used to beat my brothers and sisters. What do you expect? Of course, I'm going to change things, and I'm going to become successful and look after my kids and wife and all this kind of stuff. This is when you discover that the two people he's been interviewing are brothers.
Right.
So, great example of the fact it's not what happens to you in our life. It's the decision that we make about what these experiences mean.
Yeah.
So what these questions enable you to do is start asking questions about the legs on the table.
Yep.
And about the experiences that you've had in the past. If not only, possibly to knock all the legs out, but at least to make the table shaky and rickety, so that the certainty that you had about that belief is replaced by a doubt, which can then get stronger and stronger and stronger into the future.
Yep.
So that's just a little bit about how it works, just for people who are watching this. So, I mean, are you willing to share one of these limiting beliefs with us so that we can test it out?
Yes, it's one to do with presenting, and especially presenting new content. Standing up for the first time and presenting new content, and that little doubt that's there around. Oh, what if I can't remember what I'm supposed to be saying? It's very different when you've delivered something a few times and it's just so easy to get into the zone. But new content, and I'm delivering a lot of new content, and although I always get through it, there's always there is that doubt that's there that could get called out any time. There has been situations where I have, completely forgotten what it was that I'm supposed to be talking about next, and I've got my little strategies to get me out of that and stuff, as probably we all do. But so it'd be good to talk around that and just explore that in a little bit more detail.
Okay, so the issue is about whether you're able to remember everything when you're presenting.
Yes,
okay.
New content.
New content.
Yeah, and it's to do with the enhanced doubt that seems to be present at that time, more than any other time around. You might forget. What if you forget? New content.
So you have an enhanced doubt about whether you can remember the new content.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I'm already in trance. What happened
so
there?
how would you know that doubt wasn't true? As you think about it now,
how would I know?
How many ways could you know that doubt about being able to remember all of the new content wasn't true?
How many ways? Well, just based on past experience. It's based on maybe 6 or 7 times standing up and having the I've stood up and my brain sat down type moment.
Right, so that's how you know that is true. That doubt is true. But how many ways at this moment in time could you know that it's not true?
I don't even know how to answer that question.
So you used to have doubts, yeah?
I used to have doubt.
Yeah. So how, right in this moment right now, how could you know that the doubts about being able to remember the new content when you present aren't true? That in actual fact, how many ways do you know that you could remember the new content?
Probably plenty of ways.
All right. Good. Can you give it plenty of ways? How many specifically?
Well, I could use strategies like a mind map, for instance, that would help, or a simple memory pegging technique that would help in aiding the memorizing of new content. Okay. That's 2. Simple crib sheet in front of me.
And how long does it take for new content to become old? I'm just curious.
Delivered 3-4 times.
Oh, right. Actually, in front of a live audience or just in your mind?
I was thinking more in front of a live audience.
Okay. So what's the difference that a live audience makes?
I'd say...
Could you have something that you've known for years and years and years, but you're presenting for the first time and it still be new, or would that be old?
It would still be new in the context of in front of a group. You know, there's an interesting dynamic of standing up in front of a group where you can be telling a story in a pub with your mates, and there's maybe 6 or 7 people that rock up, and then all of a sudden, you know, more and more people rock up. So there's that dynamic of standing up in front of an audience that just I think changes things a little bit, and there are so many things going on that are being calibrated in that moment to make sure that it's really good. The content piece, which needs to be there, can be a bit lost.
Okay. Okay. So for who isn't that true?
What, this belief?
Mm.
I don't know. Probably for a number of people it wouldn't be true.
Who specifically wouldn't it be true for?
It might not be true for you.
Right. Anybody else?
So
this is a unique belief for you to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Be interesting to know what makes you so special that you wouldn't be able to remember everything in front of an audience.
I feel so much better already.
Well, let's even think about this. So when wasn't it true for you?
When wasn't it true for me? Oh, we'll probably have to go back to real childhood times in order for that to be not true for me. So 4, 5.
Oh, right. So this is something you've developed as you get older?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Having had a few experiences of standing up in front of groups and...
Right.
Yeah. And all of a sudden... the content seems to have disappeared. Right,
but even, you know, so there's a couple of experiences that you had in the past that had you kind of believe that. So what experiences have you had of that belief not being true for you? You know, where you've presented new material and been able to remember it.
Yeah, it's been a number of times where I have stood up and the content has been there and everything's been absolutely fine and dandy. First time.
Right, brilliant. I mean, how many times do you think that's happened?
Over the 17 or 18 years that I've been doing this.
A lot, right?
A lot. It's got to be a lot. Yeah.
So as you think about it now, in what ways do you know that old belief isn't true now?
Well, as I'm thinking about the old belief, there's nothing there. It's like I'm trying to grab it, and I can't.
Or maybe you just let it slip through your fingers.
It's exactly that's exactly the image that I have. Actually, is I keep trying to. It's like soap. I keep trying to grab it, and it's just disappearing. Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's flip it over then. So, what do you want to believe instead?
2 things I think would be good to have. One, that it's totally okay to stand up delivering new content and lose your way, that it's absolutely fine to do that. And secondly, that I do have the ability to, if I put the effort and energy into, remember the content to such a degree that I can deliver it.